Hello, Mike Hall here, CEO of Paul Fraser Collectibles. Welcome to episode 6 of my top tips in what to buy right now in the rare collectibles market. Firstly for pleasure, but also for future profit. Now today I'm going to share with you what, in my experience, has been one of the most exciting, exhilarating and fascinating areas of the rare collectibles market. And it is Chinese stamps, believe it or not. Now, this is a country which, according to the Wall Street Journal, accounts for a third of the total number of stamp collectors in the world. So it's safe to say that stamp collecting is a huge market in China. So my relationship with Chinese stamps first started in 2008 when I visited China for the first time. Now, I really wanted to delve into the market at that time because I could see that it was a fast-growing market and prices were really rising at a phenomenal rate. So I took with me an expert in Chinese philately and headed to China to find out for myself what the market was like. And well, the first story I always tell people about my visit to China is about the food, which it's certainly my most bizarre experience in food. I was served fish semen. Yeah, you heard me right, fish semen. My host served me that. And actually, it's probably, you don't want to hear any more of that story. But it's safe to say that my stamp story from my time in China is far more appetizing than what the food was. So one of the things we did when we were there, we went to stamp markets in Shanghai, Beijing and Hong Kong as well. And I was amazed by the size of these markets and the number of people scurrying about picking up all these stamps and the number of traders. But the biggest surprise to me really was the age demographic. The traders themselves were generally under the age of 30. And the collectors range from, say, 10 years old to sort of middle age, but entirely different demographic to what I would expect to see in a stamp market anywhere else in the world, where generally it's retired people that collect stamps, not younger people. So this was a real surprise to me. But the one thing that really caught my eye was the traders were all looking at screens while they were trading these stamps. And I asked our translator, what's that about? And he said that, well, that's the quoted daily stamp prices, because the market was so volatile and fast moving that prices were literally changing daily. It was a market where you could make 10% return in an hour, sort of thing. It was just completely different to anything I'd ever seen in stamps, ever before. And the thing is, in China, stamp collecting is perceived very differently. It's considered cool, it's considered an intellectual pastime, and it has prestige behind it. And I think that's a lot to do with the fact that stamp collecting was illegal under Chairman Mao. So it wasn't until his death in 1976 that Chinese people could collect stamps, and it's safe to say they've taken up the hobby with great vigour. But the biggest event from my first visit to China was when we attended a major stamp auction. And before the auction, we viewed all the stamps, and we had a strategy. So we selected iconic rarities, but only where the condition was pristine. And that was very rare. There was very few lots that passed our criteria. So having selected our lots, we attended the auction on the day, entered the room, immediately confronted with the largest number of people I've ever seen in an auction in my life. It was standing room only. There was an electric buzz in the air. It's truly a different experience. And throughout the auction, there was cheers when big prices were realised and gasps of astonishment at some of the prices being realised. But really for us, the surprise was we got every single stamp that we wanted to buy, but we only had to bid one bid above what poorer quality examples were selling for, which was a completely alien concept to us. Normally, you would pay a huge premium for top quality. So we thought, no, this is a great strategy. And clearly, at the moment, the Chinese collectors aren't particularly focused on condition when they're buying, but I believe that would change. And indeed it did. In the years that followed, the Chinese collectors have become far more discerning about price and quality having a relationship. And so we got our clients into Chinese stamps at that time, and what they saw between 2010, 2015, the average return was 20% per annum over that 5-year period. Some people made a lot more than that. But then around about 2016, there was a market correction and prices fell, but you would expect that in a market so fast moving that it's not going to go up at that rate forever. They then plateaued for a while, and now they're on the way back up. In recent years, we're seeing prices moving up again, and one of the new dynamics is Chinese-based buyers bidding at European auctions because their money restrictions have loosened significantly and they're able to do that. And that's having an impact on prices around the world of Chinese stamps. Just last year was the 75th anniversary of the setting up of the People's Republic of China. And there was a major 5-day Asian stamp exhibition held in Shanghai, which really provided a major boost to Chinese philately. And in particular, post-1949 issues have seen a significant increase in demand. So to summarise, the reason I recommend this market, I think the stamps themselves are fascinating in terms of postal history, because China has such obviously an interesting history. But the designs are intricate, very, very attractive, and I've always found it a really rewarding area for me personally. But at the same time, it's an area where, in a return to another bull market, I think the prices could rise quite dramatically from where they are today. So in that vein, I will now share with you 4 specific rarities from China that I would recommend as an acquisition for pleasure and for profit. So the first one is the 1883 Candarins. Now, this is the first stamp issue from China, so it's the equivalent to the penny black, effectively, with lovely ornate dragon design. And what's special about these is the condition. You hardly ever see these stamps in this quality in mint condition, with no blemishes, no problems. Original gum in the back. Hardly ever see it. It's a complete anomaly. Almost all of them are damaged in some way. And if these were penny blacks, you'd expect to pay up £10,000 more for each of these. This entire set you can buy for just £3,000. And I think there's huge upside potential in that issue. When you consider the amount of collectors in China, the price doesn't seem quite right. The second one I'd like to share with you is another iconic set. This is actually the first ever commemorative stamps issued by China, which was in 1894, and it celebrates the 60th birthday of the Dowager Empress. And the Dowager Empress is one of the most powerful figures in Chinese history, which you can read all about at your will on Google. But this is an iconic set, again, rarely seen in this quality. And this is only £2,000. We're now going to move on to the area that's really hot and has been the area where the prices have been, the returns can be quite extraordinary. And this is from 1962. And this is the very, very first miniature sheet issued by China. And it has the name, the Drunken concubine. It's China's most valuable miniature sheet. It's actually considered legendary, really, amongst collectors. Now, the thing is there was only 20,000 of these issued, but at that time, the price was just a bit too much, and there just wasn't a great demand. And during the Cultural Revolution, the vast majority of them were destroyed, so it's actually quite rare. And I saw an example of this sell at a European auction recently for €18,000 plus 25% buyer's premium, though that hidden charge you get at auction. This is available from us today for the price of just £10,000. The final one I'm going to share with you is the most famous iconic stamp of China. But I'm not sharing one, I'm sharing four. This is the iconic 1980 year of the monkey stamp. And again, this is another first, because this is the first stamp issue from China celebrating a new year. And it's more than just a stamp in China. It's a symbol, it's an iconic thing to own. It's a gift product. It's considered a lucky charm, and the reason for that is it has three symbols of luck in China. It has the colour red, it has the number 8, and as a monkey, which in Chinese culture symbolises luck, honour and wealth. Now, to get this in a block of 4 is truly more valuable than a single. Having said that, there was actually 5 million of these printed and a large survival rate, so they're not particularly rare at all. But the demand is such that the prices for these have risen considerably in the past 20-25 years. Now, when I first got involved in this market, I would have expected to pay somewhere in the region of £2,000 for this item. Today, you can buy it for £7,500 from us, which shows how much the price has risen. But for something that iconic, it truly could go up in value much, much more. So that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. Please share and subscribe to our channel. I look forward to seeing you next time for another top tip in the rare collectibles market. Until then, thank you very much.